Welcome to Gehenna Gaming, where we tell dark stories and support inclusivity in gaming. I'm Kyran, your storyteller for the evening, and welcome to our penultimate episode of Bleeding Kansas, our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, based on the Storyteller's Vault Chronicle of the same name, which you can find a link to in the chat. This is a horror game intended for an adult audience that will explore many dark and disturbing themes. So if you feel overwhelmed or seriously uncomfortable, be sure to take a break and come back when you feel up to it. As always, I would like to thank our fantastic sponsors, Die Hard Dice, 1985 Games, and Session Zero Clothing. You can use code Gehenna at checkout at any of these TTRPG companies to get 10% off your purchase. So, now that we've done all that, let's meet our vampires for the evening.
Hey everyone, I'm Lynn, she, they, playing M, she, her, the coterie's Bruja, who is unhappy with the way events have turned. Certain groups are here unhappy.
Hi guys, I'm Vin at VinVoxVA on Twitter, he, they, and I'll be playing Gideon Greer, your resident Thin Blood, any all.
And I'm Justice, he, him, Stash Mandu on the socials, and tonight I'm playing Luther, the blue blood in this group, just trying to make his own little way of kings towards the top of the pile.
And I am C. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on the internet at PieSharpArt. Tonight I have the absolute delight of playing Somber, your favorite amnesiac daddy diablerist who doesn't know what the Sabbat is. I don't know why everyone's so upset. They also use they, them pronouns.
Indeed. Why is everyone so upset about the Sabbat? This is a question we've been asking since the 90s, and we'll keep asking it. So, with all that said, let's tell the vampire story. After what was surely the longest night of their unlives, so long, in fact, that it took multiple sessions to tell the full story of that night, our kindred returned to their graves with much on their minds. Somber has been gifted knowledge of a ritual that could purge their mind of intruders and reveal the secret of their old lover to them. They've also been given a task to investigate the massacres in Kansas City, Kansas, across the river from the relative safety of the Camarilla and Anarch domains. Gideon has gathered a few precious shreds of truth from the Nosferatu that might mean something more if they can get a sense of the full picture across the river. And Luther and Lynn are both very interested in what all of this could mean for the balance of power in their new home. But whatever they were expecting, it certainly wasn't this. Arriving in Kansas City, Kansas, in the midst of a massive protest, they were told that a charismatic band called the Clay Eaters had lured some of the more gullible away from the front lines to attend a concert. Among those who have been lured away is a mortal who means something to at least two members of our coterie. And when Luther and Gideon saw the symbol the Clay Eaters displayed on their flyers, they knew they didn't have any time to lose. And for those who don't know what the symbol means, blissful ignorance is unlikely to last long. So, we return to the riverbanks of Kansas City, Kansas, The protest is still loud and full-throated as the police are doing their best not to get into an aggressive confrontation. People are demanding answers for the horrifying massacre that took place last night, but there don't seem to be any answers forthcoming. It's up to all of you how you want to navigate this. So, I turn it over to you.
I think Somber is peering over M's shoulder, looking down at the flyer for the band. Does it have a photo of the band on it, or is it just the symbol?
It is just the symbol. It says the Clay Eaters, come be transgressive, right underneath that in smaller writing. And then on the back is that odd symbol that you've never seen before.
I think that's kind of a bad name for a band. What do you think, Em?
It's boring, but look at this.
What? Is that a letter I'm supposed to know?
Well, of course there. Sabbat has no one. Oh, we didn't. Oh, that's right. We didn't go. A bunch of assholes. Third group. They think they say a lot about freedom, all that shit, but a bunch of wild cultists.
Oh, good. So there's fucked up shit going on over here than we thought initially.
Yeah. Thought they were gone, but of course, considering everything that's happening, of course a few would show up, but we should probably go and deal with this if we want to have anything here.
The Sabbat have no concern for the Masquerade. Therefore, they are a threat to all of us, Camarilla and Anarch.
How interesting. Seems like Giddy and I are rather safe, though, since we fall into neither category anyway.
Are any of us truly safe as if the Masquerade is breached?
I suppose it depends on what kind of world you wish to live in the future, Luther. But I agree. I could use some music.
I think it would be wise to perhaps call in a favor or two prior to investigating this disturbance.
How so?
Well, Gideon, do you have a contact within your new friends that you could reach out to and see if there's any additional information that they can glean, or perhaps provide backup in the event things get out of hand?
I'm sure I can use that major boon for backup, but I think the four of us could handle it. Besides, don't you want the glory that comes with defeating the Sabbat?
I would much rather take all of the credit without actually having to do the work.
That's what I'm here for, Luther. I promise. I won't let another hole get gouged out of your stomach.
I don't know if you two appreciate the gravity of the situation that is potentially at hand. They murdered 30 individuals in broad daylight and dumped them in the river.
And perhaps the prince should see undeniable proof of that, shouldn't they? Or, perhaps even better, the court should see undeniable proof of such a thing. And perhaps they would think twice about following such a short-sighted prince in the first place.
Perhaps we set our sights a little lower. The sheriff is the one that is so hot for young kindred. I wish to rephrase that.
I think it would be in your best interest to rephrase that, comes a voice from directly behind you.
Yes.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. And you see Vera, your coterie's bodyguard of sorts, babysitter of another sort, shouldering her way through the crowd and saying, I do work for him after all.
Oh, you've been following us then. Keeping
It is
an eye on
my
us?
job. Thanks so much for letting me know you were coming over here in advance so I didn't have to drop everything and run through risking the masquerade. Oh, wait. That is exactly what you didn't do and exactly what I did do.
We
What
sent
the
a
hell are you
messenger.
doing on this side of the river?
We sent a messenger.
And I'm
Somber
going
had
on a date. Yes, thank you, Luther.
She looks over and glares directly at you, Somber. And she says, I'm sure you are. And she says, and yeah, you sent a messenger after you'd already left.
Oh, contraire. The messenger was sent before we left.
Then you walked real frickin' quick.
Well, you are always surprising how slowly mortals walk.
It's
Definitely
hardly our
hard.
fault if they did not arrive before we arrived.
She crosses her arms. She says, I didn't even have time to grab my rifle. I'm walking around with just a freaking pistol. Anyway, you do know the sheriff has forbidden anybody from crossing the river. I'd be well within my rights to stake all of you and drag you back right now.
We're right here?
Give me an intimidation plus charisma check, M.
Okay. Charisma. Yes. Cool. 3 successes.
All right. She takes a step back and she says, I said I'd be within my rights to. I didn't say that's what I was going to do. I want answers just as much as everyone else.
Well, we have us. Well, we have another problem, and just slam the flyer. Look at that.
She opens up the flyer and she says, the clay eaters, come be transgressive. She flips it over. The great men of our time. Flips it back over. What's the symbol?
That is the symbol of the Sabbat.
She kind of crumples it a little bit in her hand.
Oh, there we go.
They're all gone. They've all died out. Like they got wiped out by the Second Inquisition.
Sure, yes. So either there is a band that somehow found that symbol and has attached it to their flyers in an attempt to, what do the kids say, be edgy?
Ooh.
Or they are the ones responsible for the 30 dead bodies in the river last night.
Fuck! Alright, so what do you plan on doing about it? You're the ones who risked your life and limb by coming across the river.
Certainly. We were just discussing that.
Well, Luther, if it's backup you're looking for, perhaps we could call on my date. Get a little backup from the ministry. I'm sure she'd be happy to see me and see a show.
We do want them out. It would be good to be thorough with it.
Storyteller.
Yes.
The sheriff is the one that killed the young kindred, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And Crowley is the Ventru Seneschal?
He's the Ventru Primogen, yes.
Primogen.
Isa Rojas is the Seneschal and the Tremere Primogen. She has both of those positions. The one that Sombra was speaking to last session.
And the 3 people that the Nas told us went across the river were
Crawley, Alexios, the Lasamba representative, and Isa, the Tremere Primogen / Seneschal. They've all been secretly going across the river for a while now.
Vera, before we embark on this, whatever we call it, how much do you know of your boss's illicit activities across the river?
He's the sheriff. By definition, nothing he does is illicit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Vera worked for Crawley.
Oh, no. Vera works for the sheriff. She's a hound.
Ah.
We can retcon that if you like.
How much do you know about Crawley's illicit activities?
She gets a bad look on her face, which is like, Crawley's been a pain in my ass ever since his protege, Rutledge, was elevated to prince. He thinks he practically owns the city now. I would absolutely love to get something on him, but he keeps himself pretty squeaky clean as far as I've been able to tell. And the Nosferatu aren't fans of my boss, so I can't exactly go to them and ask for the inside scoop.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't like him. Will you accompany us
He signs my paycheck.
on this crusade if we can provide information that Crowley is up to no good? And would you use your influence to remove him from his position?
If you can give me evidence that Crawley's been doing something shady, I think my boss would give you a princedom. Not that he has one to give out at the moment, but needless to say, he'd be grateful.
I believe you saw him with your own eyes involved with the bodies in the river.
She says, I saw him come out to greet you after we found all of those bodies in the river.
Think back a little harder. If you recall, I modified her memory.
Yes, the storyteller is just recalling that. She says, I did, and I told the sheriff about that. Unfortunately, Mr. Crawley is well within his rights to inspect something that might have had something to do with his clan. It was enough to get the sheriff's hackles up, and you've seen what he can do when his hackles are up.
Certainly.
But it doesn't give us enough to go after the primogen of a clan who currently holds the princedom of the city.
Let's call that step 1, and let's find step 2.
I'm game, and I have to keep an eye on all of you anyway, sheriff's orders, so I'm not letting you out of my sight.
Just try to keep up.
Believe me, I
Somber,
can.
would you like to call in your date?
I think I would. How do you use this again? They look at the phone, just kind of blankly. Gideon, do you think you could make it work?
They just nod and take the phone and dial. Oh my god.
Can you put some of the heart emojis in?
Would you like the red ones, or the sparkle ones, or the blue one, or the green one, or
The black
orange
one, please.
Of course. How can I be so dense? And they put in the black hearts.
And are you sending a text message, or are you making a phone call in this situation? Somber, I guess you're the one who's requesting.
Well, I want the black hearts, but maybe that was just to put the contact number in. We can give her a call.
All right, Gideon, the phone rings in your hand, and on the second ring, it's picked up, and you hear the sound of raucous noise coming through the phone, and cutting through it is the telltale sound of Jessica's voice. Darling! I have been so hoping you'd make your way over here quickly.
I heard about that. It sounds like you're exactly where I want to be. Are you at that little fun show thing that's going on the other side?
She says, oh yes, the Clay Eaters. You must come and listen to my child play.
Oh, your child's playing. How interesting. I can't wait to see you.
I am very much looking forward to seeing you too, darling. Can I ask, did Gideon pass along my little gift?
Of course he did. And it was delicious.
So you have tasted of it. You drank it.
Of course. A gift from you is a gift that should not be wasted, not even a single drop.
Stupendous. Well, come to us now, Somber, she says in a decidedly more commanding tone.
Of course.
We're waiting
See you
for you.
soon.
Excellent. And the line goes dead.
Interesting. Okay, it's done now. Thank you.
Well,
Click.
what did they say?
Well, they said that their childer is playing with the Clay Eaters.
Oh,
What?
I'm personally not that sure either.
that's very interesting.
Well, we're certainly gonna find out, aren't we?
Very quickly, I imagine.
Absolutely.
I think that perhaps there is some role that she's hoping that I play, so I might play along for a little while. Don't be alarmed.
By all means.
And she's there already, by the by. I think it's time that we head out.
Oh, that's convenient. Well, let me check on one thing I think I can keep, in case things get rowdy over there. Keep things distracted. I'm gonna go right back to Theo and just say, kids are in trouble over there on the other side. There's some bad shit happening, bad territory stuff. I want to go check it out.
Yeah, of course. I had a bad feeling about those guys anyway. What do you need me to do?
You think you can keep this going? Keep yourself safe, of course.
Oh yeah, trust me. I can keep
Oh,
this
this
going.
is
We're not leaving.
yeah, this is just on the edge, and she'll pick up just like if there's any like loose like asphalt or pavement or rock, and there's that line across, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna whip it just as hard, just hard.
Okay. There's the sound of cracking plastic as it slams into a riot shield. And what follows is what you would expect to follow as the four of you make your way away from that space.
I'll like do this too before we leave.
Theo will blow you a kiss as you go. As you make your way across the city, it is in much the same state across the entire area. Some neighborhoods, people are barricading themselves in their homes because they're anticipating another massacre. In some areas, you can see people running through the streets, yelling and screaming, police officers following. You're not entirely sure whether they're fanning the flame or trying to stamp it out. It is complete bedlam. When you finally make it to the other side of the city, you find the concert is going on in the midst of a cornfield, just outside the city limits. There's been a stage erected with the flag of the Clay Eaters, or for those of you who are in the know, the symbol of the Sabbat, openly flying across the back of it. And the sound that is coming from the stage could only very, very generously be described as music. It doesn't even have the charm of some good punk rock. It is just screeching instruments and adolescent boys screaming into microphones. Their lungs won't be usable within another 2 years if they keep using them that way. But at this stage of their lives, they don't seem to care. And at the front is a slightly older man that you all do indeed recognize. the tattooed, shirtless, bearded, long black-haired man that you saw whistling at that werewolf only one night ago, though it seems like an eternity, on the Boss Callahan. And he seems to be leading the vocals. Various teens are all sitting on parked cars. Some of them are standing up and cheering. Some of them are engaging in a variety of different substances that seem to be enhancing their enjoyment of the performance. Some of them are actively giving each other tattoos. It's a real no-holds-barred kind of evening. And you see Jessica essentially holding court with several clearly enamored young men and women and others right on the side of the stage. However, Eden is nowhere to be seen. Em and Luther.
I think as we come upon all of this, Somber goes, not exactly my taste, but there's something kind of familiar about it all, isn't there?
Other than being totally wretched. They tried harder.
I can honestly say I've never been in any situation like this.
Luther, I think that you should loosen your tie a little bit, or else those teenagers over there are going to try to pickpocket you.
Yeah, blend in. Come on.
Suit yourself, get your pockets picked. And Somber saunters their way toward Jessica at the side of the stage, pushing not so kindly through mortals, like they don't even recognize that they're there.
All right. As you make your way towards them, someone comes out of the woodwork and strides right up to you. It's a young man, pale skin, dressed in various torn articles of clothing. Lots of his skin is just openly exposed. Extremely hairy, long, shaggy head of hair, with chains tattooed across his chest and also literally wrapped around his arms in places. And he lets out a low snarl. And he says, "None are permitted to see Lady Ninsun without an appointment."
Do I look like I need an appointment?
You don't want to test me.
And you don't want to be on Lady Nansun's bad side when she finds out that it took her 35 more seconds to see me than it had to. Move out of the fucking way.
Intimidation plus charisma.
Four successes.
All right. He stares at you, and in just a moment you see his eyes flicker from their dark blue tone to something that almost looks yellow. But he stands aside to let you pass.
Thank you. Them too. Don't get in their way either.
He gives a gruff nod towards all of you, and then lets in a deep, like he's smelling you as you pass.
I think Somber comes up to Jessica from behind and just like drapes their arms over her shoulders and goes, "Your pet over there is kind of, I don't know, bothersome."
She places a hand on yours, and just sort of rubs your hand across her top surgery scars, and she says, "I was so hoping that you'd be prompt." She kisses the back of your hand. "Oh, I can already smell it on you, my dear. You've become one of us, haven't you?"
Yes, of course.
You have no idea the ecstasy that is in store for both of us now that we've been linked in this way.
Thanks. You know, if you really just wanted to see me like that, you could hand a ring or two over. I wouldn't mind that either.
She looks over and she says, "Ah, you've brought guests. Vagoni, I see you're all in one piece, more or less."
Mostly, I couldn't allow this young, vulnerable child to wander the streets of Kansas City alone, now could I?
Certainly not. And young Master Greer, I do hope that my blood was of great use to you.
Clearly, we did make it ashore. Thank you.
Splendid. She looks over at Em and her eyes kind of catch on you for a second. She starts to look at you a little bit more deeply. Something about your aura, dear. Do you have something soul forged on you at the moment by any chance?
I don't know.
She says, "Interesting. Very interesting." And you see her eyes linger on the small box that was gifted to you by Hector Soleil for a moment, which is poking out of one of your pockets, before she leans back. And she says, "Gil will be off the stage in just a moment. I'm sure he'll want to speak with all of you. What brought you across the river today, other than wanting to spend time with me, dear?"
Do I need another reason? We heard another party was happening, and being over there with all those high-necked, stiff-collared assholes was getting a little bit tiring.
You're going to fit in perfectly here.
And pray tell, what exactly is going on here? Don't tell me that's your childer up there.
Ah, yes, that's him, Gil, the long hair. I know his music is decidedly modern, but he feels it expresses what he's feeling very adequately. And he's got an appreciation for some of the old masters as well. Well, what he would consider the old masters. He listens to quite a lot of music from the 60s.
Ah, I don't personally remember those. The 60s.
Here he comes now. Come on now. And as he makes his way down, you get your second full look at Gil since you saw him the first time there on the water. And he says, "Hello, I see you've met my sire. I'm Gil. I am absolutely overjoyed to be able to see you all in a more friendly context."
Yes, it was a rather warm and intimate greeting that you gave us into Kansas City, wasn't it?
Well, you'll have to apologize for Key, and you'll have to forgive Key. And he reaches over and scratches the shaggy man that was trying to stop you earlier behind the ear. He was in the middle of a very important rite, and he got carried away.
Happens to the best of us. Sorry about your pet. It did try to bite my arm off, though.
Key lets out a low growl. He had the master's blood in him. He was sacred, and you broke him in half.
Oh, I'm sure Jessica would forgive me for such a thing. Go on, Em.
How's the arm?
You see he flinches a second and gets a grip on it, and turns, looks at Gil, and says, "Master, I'd be more than happy to get rid of them right now. I would have if you hadn't called me away the other night. It doesn't matter that this one's with them now." He jerks his head towards Somber. "I'm still a match for all of them, you know that." Gil says, I'm sure you are. But we haven't gained mastery over this city by forcing everyone, have we? Some people require a lighter touch, and Mr. Vagoni here is famous for his light touch. So I think that we can do business. I think it's something that runs in the family.
Luther does love business.
And I love what he loves.
What are you alluding to?
He says, somebody that I think you know made my acquaintance earlier tonight. I've been expanding her mind back at our base of operations for the past few hours. I think she's been enjoying it.
You must be very confident in your position here to offer such a slight.
It's not a slight at all. It's an invitation. I think you'll enjoy expanding your mind much as she has. Much as this entire city will before we're through.
You are treading very dangerous ground, youngling.
You were very nearly treading water when I let my associate loose on you, Vigoni.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
I'd love to invite you all back to my home, and my sire's home, and Key's home. You see, we have a bit of a commune together. I think you'll like it, and I think you'll enjoy the company I've already acquired.
And if we refuse your hospitality?
He leans back and he says, I have no need of secrecy. I don't have to say something dramatic like dead men tell no tales and stake you for the sun. We're open. You, I'm sure, know, Mr. Vigoni, that openness is something we value. You think that we gained full dominion over this city by slaughtering every kindred who tried to oppose us? Not a single one of them has made their way across the river to explain to you what's happened here. Do you think they're all dead? No. They've joined us. Our family grows larger with every passing hour. And now even Somber has joined it, if what my sire has told me is true.
I'm never one to turn down a good invitation.
Well, there you are. So if you wish to refuse, Mr. Vigoni, you are more than welcome to leave my city. I assure you, I'll have people watching you the entire time to ensure it's a safe passage.
I'm going to look at Jessica. You allow your childer to speak for you in this manner? His city?
She says, I lost any need for material possessions centuries ago, my friend. He's conquered this city. It belongs to him. I don't feel any slight by him speaking this way. Those who follow the path of Cathari are far more concerned with sensation rather than Cinderblock.
In Somber, you want to go with these fiends?
Oh, come on, Luther. I followed you around to plenty of court proceedings. Surely you could come home for just an evening.
Storyteller, where's Vera right now?
Vera is still, she's a few paces back, but she's also here. And she is watching all of this with wide eyes. She's not trying to conceal her shock at how brazenly these people are showing off what they are.
I do not wish to enlighten my mind any further. Gideon, what do you say to their invitation?
I mean, I agree. You're not going to enlighten him. I've tried. It doesn't take very long. But I mean, all of this, just enriching. Fuck. I have somebody to find here, so I will be about a moment. So everybody decide what they want to do, and we'll go from there.
Well, unlike my colleagues, I don't have to trade bards or what have you. I'm here for business. And if that means meeting the family, so on and so forth, then I won't turn down an invitation.
Seems you're outvoted, Mr. Vigoni. But of course you're welcome to leave if you wish.
He's going to look intently at Somber for a moment. And I guess this is where we part ways. It has been an experience. Gideon, Somber, and he will turn around and walk away.
All right. Luther leaves. Gil motions for Somber and Gideon and M to follow him, if you're all up for doing that.
Have to give me a minute. Give me a moment. I was here to look for something. I'm gonna look for I to see whatever this shit show is here.
What are you looking for?
Oh, Eden.
This is the storyteller asking you. I didn't fully hear what you said.
Yeah, no, Eden.
Eden. Oh.
Okay.
And you say that to him? And he says, "Oh, were you not aware? Eden is who I've been speaking about. She is Luther's daughter. I believe that's why he was so unhappy. And she's back in my house."
Oh, holy shit! Oh,
you must be mistaken. Luther doesn't have a daughter. That's ridiculous.
This is what secrets can do to a man. That's why I choose not to have any. So, if you're after Eden, you can come with me.
Oh. He's who she was talking. Oh, that's. Well, she's there. Let's go.
Wait, you know Luther's daughter?
Yeah.
Of course.
Know the blood, all that stuff.
Jessica's chuckling and says, let's see how many more times we can say Luther's daughter very, very loudly in a public area. I imagine he'll take a stake to the heart every time. And pain can be a fascinating thing to watch. Follow me, my dears. And Gil and Jessica will lead you away. Luther, where is it that you are going?
Would I be able to snag Vera on the way away from the group?
Certainly.
What can you do with that information if you are able to get back across the river?
She says, if I tell the sheriff that what I've seen tonight, he'll put everything on a full lockdown. Nobody will get across the river or out. No one will be allowed to talk about what's happening across the river. He'll want this kept as quiet as possible. A Sabbat incursion on his watch, that's every kindred's worst nightmare. It would completely rob him of all legitimacy.
I bear no ill will against your master, but this is larger than he is. And we cannot allow politics, petty politics, to allow this festering boil to grow in the center of this princedom. Do you agree?
I agree. Look, my boss keeps me in blood and signs my paychecks, but that doesn't mean that I value him over everything else. I have my own priorities. Those are mine. I don't have to tell you what they are.
I'm not going to ask.
But I'm not telling you that all that's going to happen because of politics. That's just what's going to happen because he's the biggest, baddest kindred across the river, and what he says goes. So if you want any other response other than full lockdown and a gag order, you're going to have to get somebody else on your side. You're going to have to figure out why they're here. I mean, shit. This is the first time hearing about this, and I'm a hound. If they manage to sneak under the radar like this is a large-scale operation.
I have it on very good authority that 3 members of the Kansas City, Missouri court have been making it their way across the river.
Crossing the river isn't in itself illegal under any tradition, as long as they declared themselves to whoever was in charge over here. This was the Toreador Primogen's territory before it went silent after last night. But suspicion could be something. You could build something off of that, I guess.
It's not suspicion, it's confirmed. Isabel, Alexis, and Crowley. Independent trips across the river that lead them together.
So the 2 most powerful people at court, other than the sheriff and the prince, plus a Lasombra wild card. Fucking fantastic. What do you propose to do with this information? If what you're aiming for is bringing down the cavalry, that ain't happening tonight. I'm happy to help you. My job is to keep you all safe. But I don't see the sheriff ordering a frontal assault on a dug-in Sabbat enclave until he's done some scouting.
Vera, I apologize. I am not thinking the most clearly right now. I don't know if you caught the subtle barbs. They have someone very important to me and my humanity, what remains of it, in their clutches. This is not something that can last the night. It must be taken care of, and it must be taken care of now. I am not combat-oriented, if you understand my meaning. However, I do have contacts within the city, and the mortals in the area. I might be able to drum up something. Do you think that you could contact the Nosferatu in the area?
They're not my biggest fans, but I at least know how to get in touch with them.
I don't know if Gideon was able to contact them before, but I doubt they will allow him to make contact now, but they do owe him a boon.
If that's true, I can have them in reserve. But they're probably going to need that call from help from Gideon's mouth specifically if they're going to spend the boon.
I believe that they would have an interest in undermining the sheriff in this instance.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could offer them a trade of information for protection. If anyone can get into this stronghold, it will be them.
She thinks about it for a minute, and she says, normally I tell you to go screw, but they've got someone that I care about too. So I'll get you your backup. I'll make a deal. I've got stuff they want.
Thank you. I will not forget this, and I appreciate your willingness. In the meantime, I will attempt to stir up some trouble.
Oh, well, that shouldn't be too difficult for you. She says, I'll go talk to the Nos. Best of luck. She'll turn and head off. And I think that is an excellent time for us to take a short break. So, just a reminder to everybody that you can find the links for all of our fantastic sponsors in the chat, and big thanks to them. We will see you all in just a minute.
Producer Nick here. Thank you for watching Bleeding Kansas. Please stay tuned for a special preview of our upcoming sequel to Rites from the Holy Mountain, Cyborg. If you want to check out the source material, you can head to DriveThruRPG to pick up Bleeding Kansas from our very own Storyteller Kyran. Link in the description below. If you're enjoying this program today, consider subscribing to Gehenna Gaming to get up to date with all our latest actual play series.
Welcome back, everyone. Lovely to see you. Here is our daily reminder about the content warning for this game. Remember, if anything is too heavy or too intense, feel free to step away. We'll be waiting for you when you come back. So, as the three of you make your way into a nearby swamp right next to the cornfield where this concert was taking place, you hear crazy yelling and the sound of muddy feet from pretty much every direction around you. It's like walking through a fey glen, almost. Hearing fairies chittering around, except these voices sound very human. And they sound like they are not fully there. Eventually, as the mud is squelching over your feet, you reach an area where something that you're very familiar with, a riverboat, has been half sunken into the swamp. The rear of it is sticking out, and the Sabbat symbol has been painted all over it. And Gil says, "You should all feel right at home. It's even got holes in it, just like yours."
I couldn't tell which one was yours. You have like all this stuff over it.
He chuckles, and he says, "The times when we need to meet in these secluded places are fast ending. Fairly soon we'll reveal ourselves openly to many of the humans within this city. Rule them openly, even. And then we'll have no need for such redoubts. However, they do offer security, and I want to ensure that you are all as safe as possible. Please, enjoy my home."
You know, it is a rather interesting Carthage that you've built here.
He looks at you, and he says, "I wonder. I really do. I've heard about you, you know."
Me?
Yes, my sire obviously has been very invested in having you join our family. And I think in due time, there's a lot of questions that I'll need you to answer.
Why wait? I thought you were all about sharing your little secrets, weren't you?
Well, it's nothing to do with wanting to keep things under wraps. It's just tonight's about answering your questions, not mine. Please follow me. He leads you into the large sunken ship, and you can see what used to be a ballroom with various different plush chairs and cushions, couches, tables. He invites you to sit down at one of them. You're not alone in here. In fact, there are over a dozen mortals scattered throughout the ballroom. All of them seem to be in the midst of some kind of trip. Some of them are just kind of lying on their backs, looking up at the ceiling, passing their hands in front of their eyes. However, some of them seem to be having more extreme experiences. M, you recognize Eden, the woman who you've taken over under your wing as an activist, and apparently also the daughter of one of your colleagues. She's crouching on top of one of the tables, and she's digging her fingernails into it, staring straight at the floor, as if she's worried if she lets go, she might float away or plummet. You're not sure which. But her eyes are very wide, her pupils are extremely dilated, and you're not sure what kind of experience she's having. But as Gil sits down next to her, he starts to stroke her hair, and a quick shiver goes through her before she settles back into desperately gripping at the side of the table.
Does she bear a resemblance to Luther? Like, could
Yes,
we recognize her?
Yes, the two of you can probably recognize. She does bear a very striking resemblance to Luther Bergoni.
Huh. That is interesting, isn't it?
Yes, when I finally uncork her, it'll be an interesting
And
taste.
what?
What's that, Em?
Somber, you don't. Let's say Somber, you know, now you put it together, it's, yeah. How much you
Did you
think
really
how
not
mad-
know, Em?
No. I mean, she talked about her dad the whole time, but this definitely takes the cake. How mad do you think he's gonna be? Do you think it's gonna be the low talk, or is it gonna be just the silent staring?
You know, I think if anything were gonna break him, it would be this. It's probably better he's not here.
Definitely gonna want to have the long conversation for. Oh, yes, this situation.
He says, he settles down, and he says, "I'd offer you a taste, but she's not quite ready yet. It's like a wine; you need to let it age."
All right,
Please.
that's my first question. What do you mean by that? There's been a lot of cryptic things being said, but exactly what is this?
He says, "Well, this is my wine cellar. You see, as my sire mentions, we follow the path of the coterie. We are capable of cultivating the blood, of refining it in the same way that an expert plantation owner can perfect a vineyard. We cultivate our food. We take extreme pleasure in perfecting the recipe. And once it's completed, it's a bliss unlike anything you can imagine. It's all a matter of just getting the right chemicals and the right feelings in there. The lust she felt for me at the beginning of the night was an excellent start, but I needed to fortify it with a few other choice substances."
Probably is best that Luther is not here. I don't think this would do very well for business.
He says, "I'm more concerned with doing business with you, Somber, and perhaps your more reasonable friends, although, Gideon, you don't look overly pleased with my wine cellar. Were you hoping for some Amontillado?"
Very funny. This just doesn't suit my taste. Not to be a toreador, but this is quite disgusting.
He says, "It's all a matter of perspective. That's the trouble. All you Camarilla types, even you Anarch types, you're still weighed down by human morality and those vestiges of what you used to be. You can't grasp what you are now and what that can mean. You're living half a life, less than half a life. What the Sabbat offers is to unlock the rest of it."
And how, pray tell, would you unlock me?
leans forward. I see a great deal of one of my personal heroes in you, Gideon. Are you familiar with the Epic of Gilgamesh?
A high school understanding. Why?
He says, I find it fascinating. I took his name, you know, when I became what I am. Gilgamesh, much like myself, was one of the most intelligent, strong-willed, and far-seeing men of his age. He recognized that he was greater even than the gods, and so he went on a quest for immortality. And yet, after he had proven himself greater than every god that attempted to stand in his way, the answer that he got was, immortality is not for you, Gilgamesh. Consign yourself to the life of a mortal man. Enjoy those pleasures which are uniquely yours, because when you die, and this is something almost unique to the Mesopotamians, there is no welcoming afterlife for you. When you die, you will live in a house of dust, and you will eat naught but clay. That is what the gods told him. All of that strength, all of that intelligence, all that virility, and he was condemned to die. Imagine what he would have become if he'd been aware of our gift. Imagine what you could have become if your sire hadn't banished you because of the weakness of his blood. Imagine what you could become if you accept my gift. You can have the blood of any clan you like. You can elevate yourself to a place where you could stand by your sire's side or stake him and leave him to burn. It'd be entirely your choice. I'm done with letting gods shackle us. I won't settle for anything. I'm taking the full prize.
I guess that is an interesting sell point.
You'll find that there's none of the prejudice that you may have faced for the thinness of your blood within the ranks of the Sabbat. We are all siblings in the blood of Cain, and no one will look down upon you for taking action to strengthen that blood. It's a way of life for us.
And they just take another scan across the cellar, quote unquote. I see.
He says, I do hope that you'll consider it. And Jessica then leans forward. You hear the howling of hounds in the distance. And she says, Somber, it'll be even better for you now that you've joined us. We don't only cultivate blood, we also cultivate sensation. We feel what we feel as one pack. And soon, every feeding will feel the same way it does when you consume a kindred soul. You can't imagine the kind of sensual experiences you can be provided within the path of the Cathari.
How very interesting. But would you really stoop that low? To have me feed off of a mortal? I'm kind of insulted.
She smiles and she says, I'm glad to see that tasting the blood of our Vladari has not dulled your senses of purpose. Yes, when we take this whole city, you will have ample kindred blood to feast upon. Can I tell her, Gil? And he says, of course, Mother. We have no secrets. She says, we have it on excellent authority. Inside sources, in fact. that there is something slumbering underneath this city. That's why we're really here. And Gil says, yes, indeed, the blood of a true god. The path to what Gilgamesh could never find. That's why we're here. I enjoy slaughtering Camarilla as much as anyone else, but our true purpose is far greater than that. The destruction of one of the old gods, can you imagine? And all you need to do is fully commit to us. And I would be more than happy to provide you with a taste, sibling.
Haven't I already? That was what your gift was to begin with, wasn't it?
That, yes. They're not familiar with the true nature of the Rite, are they? He leans forward. Somber, what you drank was blood blessed by the Veladri. It was my blood. Jessica's blood. Or Ninsun, as I have deemed her. It was Key's blood, even. He grunts in the corner. It took some time to figure out how to incorporate his blood into it without damaging the process, but it was included. And it was the blood of several other friends of mine, your new family members that reside here in Kansas City, Kansas. When the Sabbat commune, we place all of our blood within a single container, speak the sacred rites over it, and it binds us together. It can dissolve the very fabric of blood bonds and allow us to be bound only to each other, to share in experiences, to revel in victories, and to help each other navigate the perils of these modern nights.
How very interesting. And pray tell, what more of this little fairy tale? This slumbering... What now, old god?
Yes, I apologize. My language is archaic. A Methuselah, somber. A kindred only a few generations removed from Cain. With the true powers of a god running through its veins, that is what resides underneath this city, and that is what we will find. We were told by those sources my mother mentioned that it was to be found here, and that we would be welcome. We'd find a weak spot in the armor on the Kansas side of your fair city, and that we could begin our investigation there. That's the wonderful part about all of this. We were invited in.
Ah, and where did you get that invitation?
Well, you know I'm without secrets, but my Confederates have demanded silence on that particular issue. And I find myself bound by some of those holy rite I mentioned before to maintain that silence.
You know what they always say? Any good victory includes a storyteller, someone on the outside who's able to see it all, put it down into history so that the world never forgets when gods ate each other. Perhaps we could help you with something like this.
It says, the stories that we tell to each other are what preserve the Sabbat, what preserve our pack. I have no doubt that we'll exchange a great many once your friends formally commit to us. He looks over at M, and he says, I know that you've heard a great many would-be revolutionaries claim that they're going to change the world, but we actually are going to, and we have the strength to do so. I recognize that you're a powerful warrior, M, but you have to admit, he almost killed you and everybody you were trying to protect. I can guarantee that you never have to feel that weak again. I can give you access to vitae that will give you the strength of 20 kindred.
And what do I do with this strength? Do I bow to you, King? Bow to whatever this is?
He says, we recognize primacy within our pacts. It's a title called priest, but that doesn't make me a ruler. It just means that I'm responsible for some of our more important rights. It puts me in a leadership position, yes, but you don't owe fealty to me when you join. We only owe fealty to each other. That's the way the Sabbat works. We're bound to each other in the same way that a ghoul is bound to a kindred. True equality. The mortals can't touch that kind of ideal equality. We're the only creatures on Earth that have a shot at being truly equal to each other.
Prove it then. If you're all so powerful, why haven't you taken the other side of Kansas City? I thought this was your place. You know, they've been holding court. They won't even admit you're here. If you're not going to live in shadows, at least commit all the way. Because as of right now, I'm not entirely impressed. Priest?
You see a bit of anger flash across his face for the first time. And he says, I've captured this entire half of the riverbank. In one night, your sheriff is pissing blood on the other side of this river, waiting for me to come remove his head from his shoulders. And if I didn't have more important things to do, that's precisely what I would be doing.
More important things.
The search for the Methuselah. However, M need not be tied down by such requirements. If she wants to cross the river and expunge the Camarilla, I can give her the tools to do so in a matter of nights.
Oh, I've certainly heard this song before. We're all family, we're all equals in this. And I think man in a broken down steamboat talking a lot of shit about this.
Others have tried to mock us.
Show us, or shut up.
Give me a intimidation plus charisma roll. We seem to be having a lot of those today.
Yeah, it's okay. 2 successes.
Tie, but a tie goes to the active kindred. So, I'm going to ask you a question as a storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
You've successfully pissed him off to the degree where he's going to be more reckless. What piece of information would you like him to let slip in his anger?
Ooh. I'll pass this through the group. What does he want with this Methuselah? Yes.
What does he want with the Methuselah? All right.
Yeah.
He says...
a lot of words, but just...
All right. When he leans forward and says, when I have drunk the blood of Prince Alexander Madras dry, I will have the strength to expunge every kindred within 100-mile radius who has any intention of attempting to thwart the plans of the Sabbat. I will build a new capital. I will build a new Mexico City in this land.
And there we go. You said kill it. You just want to replace it. We're all family, right? Except you get to be the top.
That's not what
Liar. Just like every other cult leader with this shit.
I am no cult leader. I will be a god before the year is out. And you would be wise not to anger me in this way, Em, when I am offering you siblinghood.
Oh, you want to be a god so badly, don't you? But take it from somebody who already is one. Don't talk to my coterie like that.
Not your coterie anymore, Somber. We are your pack now. You're leaving them behind. You've drunk the blood. That's where it ends.
Oh, and that is where you're mistaken, darling. Do you think that I'm stuck with you? No. You're stuck with me now. And I won't be taking orders from you.
I can see that you're going to need to be disciplined and broken, just like this girl here, he says, looking at Eden. And he says, Key, you may do as you wish.
Ooh.
Key's face start to elongate. And claws begin to sprout from his fingers as he begins to grow to fill the entire room. So, I invite all of you to discuss what you want to do now, because Kyran the Storyteller needs to examine something sent by Justice the Player. And it's going to take me a minute.
We don't have negotiations. Just the hiding words that Luther has.
I think a very strategic retreat is in order. I'm just saying. We can just skedaddle.
I would love to try to play the angle of like, if you kill us, you lose your best chance at getting to Methuselah. So don't fucking touch us, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like we could try to play that angle and the like, prove yourself by going to the Camarilla court right now, and we'll show you exactly where Methuselah is. Maybe we could give that one a go.
Yeah, we can give that one a go if you want to talk with as I just beat the hell out of this werewolf.
M one-on-one v werewolf. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Round 2.
You know what? You might, depending on how this goes, you might have a better negotiating.
I have a really good idea.
Okay.
I'm staring directly at Gideon.
And despite the player, Vin, being absolutely fucking terrified, Gideon looks very coolly at Somber.
And there's something behind their eyes that's not this like constant playing of like taunting and flirting and dancing through life like they don't really care what's going on. There's like a composure that's behind them that is like, trust me.
And I think they recognize that and nod.
Right. Justice, have you received the role that I've asked you to make?
Just all as one?
Yep. Give me the roll. Tell me what the successes are. I won't be sharing the information with your allies quite yet. Difficulty is high. I'll share that much information.
This is a lot of dice. In fact, I'll have to roll more than once because I'm out of dice.
We'll see if it's enough.
All right, on the first round, 5 successes, 1 crit. That's the first roll. That's a second crit and a total of 10 plus the crit. Is it add 2?
Yes, each crit adds 2 extra.
So
and those are double 10s that you're talking about, right?
correct. Yeah, there's a pair of 10s through the mass amount of dice.
That is
Okay.
correct.
14?
So 12?
Or
14?
is it the pair of crits add 2?
Yeah.
12. 12.
Yes, that's correct.
12.
14. 12. All right. Interesting. So,
Interesting. He
as you hear the sounds of police sirens and rioters getting louder outside, and as Gil leans forward and Key starts to fully unhinge his jaw, sniper dots appear on each of their foreheads. Gil says, "The hell is this?"
I told you. Don't play with power you don't yet fully understand. Now, I highly, highly suggest that you do as we say, because if you want any hope of getting to that old god of yours, well, you certainly are not going to hurt anyone here, nor discipline them.
All right, give me a persuasion plus manipulation roll with a bonus die, given, the snipers. I will tell you, Luther, your goal was not fully successful. You succeeded in your first, second, and third. First, second, and fourth requests, but not your third. He had
3
a lot
successes?
of
That's-
a lot.
3 successes.
Damn.
All right. Gil comes away with he actually also crit, so that's 6 successes. So he lunges forward bearing his fangs. Luther, are you physically here, or have you just sent your agents to do this?
Luther is coming in to get his touchstone.
Okay, so this is officially combat. 3 rounds and out. We've got a werewolf, we've got Jessica, we've got Gil, and any reinforcements they're able to call in. Luther, I am going to say that with your preparations, you can add 2 damage dice to anybody's successful attack by having the snipers basically fire at the same time that they attack. Each round you can do that. So, Let's go around. Starting with Gideon, what is your intention? As Gil lunges across the table, Jessica seems to lean back and examine the situation, and Key fully transforms and rushes forward.
I'm gonna be a sexy little human shield and step in front of Somber. I got some resilience, so I have some health to get
All
rid
right.
of.
All right. Somber, what is your intention?
Somber's intention was to take that blow, but if Gideon is coming in, I think they're going to kind of step up onto the table and start talking to Gil and Jessica. They're going to monologue.
Okay. Good to know. M, what is your intention?
My intention is to round 2 with this world, get it before it reaches Eden, and just start ripping it to shreds.
Okay. Are you putting those rings that you were given on?
You know what? It's reckless. I'm like, sure.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm feeling.
As you slip these silver rings onto your fingers, you feel a slight prick as some of your blood is pricked by a spike within it. And they rapidly start to partially liquefy and then expand. And when they solidify, you have got spiked knuckles around both fists that are adorned with long silver spikes. And as they extend over your fingers, there's the sound of shrieking voices emanating from them before they once again settle into solid matter.
Okay.
The effect of this is that you're going to deal non-halved superficial damage with all of your attacks. Even to a werewolf. Luther, what is your intention?
Provided step 4 on the 4-part Ventru plan has gone off, Luther is going to lead that step up to the closest door, let them go in first and cause a distraction, and then he's going to attempt to sneak in.
Okay, so in the midst of all of this, just a lot of stuff is going to happen simultaneously. Manipulation plus persuasion, Luther. Gideon, strength plus brawl. Somber, charisma plus persuasion. And M, strength plus brawl. Somber, what did you get?
Only 2 successes for me that time.
Only 2 successes. All right. Try as you might to try and get through to everybody, you're drowned out by the sound of a massive mob armed with improvised weapons smashing into the boat and causing utter chaos as all of the drug-addled people in here start to freak the fuck out. Speaking of the cause of that mob, Luther, what did you get?
I rolled 6, but one of those is a crit on a hunger dice.
And there is a corresponding red die as well?
Yes.
Okay. So you successfully whip these people into a frenzy using your mass mesmerize, but you are also going to suffer your clan compulsion, which as a Ventru is arrogance. You have a -2 to all dice pools not involving leadership, and you won't be able to get rid of that until you can convince someone to obey an order without supernatural assistance. So you see this crowd that you've mesmerized rushing in and causing exactly the distraction that you wanted. However, the beast rises in you and says, "You couldn't get any of this done without me." you can't even protect your daughter without exposing her to the beast that you've been lying to her about for such a long time. M, what did you get on your strength brawl against the werewolf?
Okay, I have 4 successes and a crit.
Double tens?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's not on a hunger die, is it?
No.
All right, so that's 6 successes. Let me see what he rolls. He got 3 successes. So you deal 3 points of superficial damage to him. Plus your... what's up, Luther?
I'd like to apply my bonuses to that one.
All right,
Sniper.
and at the same time, some of Watson's security guards from the boss Callahan let loose with their sniper bullets, slamming into him. So Key is going to take 5 points of damage right off the bat. He howls in fury. And Gideon, what was your roll?
See, the funny thing is, I only had 2 dots, and I have 2 hunger, so that was 2 hunger die, and I failed on both of them. So that's a bestial failure.
Is one of them a 1?
Oh, thank good. Well, I thought the rule was like if one was like lower than the other. I have a 5 and a 4.
No, you have to roll a 1 in order for it to be a bestial failure, so you're safe.
Okay.
You do not experience a bestial failure.
Just no successes.
However, you do utterly fail to prevent Gil from reaching Somber. So... Somber, you are going to take damage from Gil as he strikes at you. You do get a chance to defend yourself, but since you were relying on Gideon to protect you in that instance, I'm going to take 1 die away. So go ahead and give me your strength plus brawl to defend yourself.
Is my +1 specifically brawl against kindred active here?
Yes, that would be your
Nice.
specialty.
Excellent. Let me roll all these dice. 5 successes, even with the -1 dice.
5 successes it is. All right. So, as Gil rushes forward trying to take advantage of the opening, you are able to knock him backwards. And as he scowls at you, you hear him muttering something under his breath. And I'm going to need you to make another roll. Just a moment. Yes, the book's coming out, ladies and gentlemen, and others.
Oh no. Uh-oh, Summer's in danger.
Give me a dexterity plus wits roll.
Another 5 successes.
Another 5 successes. All right.
My dice aren't as interested in crits, but they are interested in high numbers.
All right. As you are standing on top of the table trying to be heard, you suddenly feel your foot sinking into the ground. And as you look over, you see that your shadow has distended and changed shape and is now a swirling pool of blackness directly beneath your feet. However, you are able to dodge out of the way of it just in time to avoid being catapulted into this portal and sent who knows where.
Oh! Oh!
So, that's all been resolved. We'll move on to the next round of combat. Luther, what is your intention now?
Now that the mob has entered and started wreaking havoc, I am going to identify Eden and make my way to her as quickly as possible.
Okay, that'll be a dexterity plus stealth. Actually, no, we'll make it stealth plus wits, because you're mainly trying to navigate and spot. Gideon, what is your intention?
I guess I'm gonna try to make an improvised weapon out of whatever shrapnel's on the floor.
All right,
That'd be like
go
a
ahead.
table leg or some glass. Who knows?
All right, that'll be straight up strength plus brawl in that case. Em, what are you planning on doing?
This werewolf is howling, right?
Yes,
Okay.
the werewolf is very much howling.
I want to rip its goddamn
And you
jaw.
can already see it. Oh, go ahead.
I said I want to rip its jaw. That's she
course.
wants. That's what she wants.
Very well. Strength plus brawl. Somber.
Ooh, so Somber has a little bit of oblivion as their discipline too. I assume that's sort of what almost just happened to them.
That way.
Was it Jessica?
The person. It seemed that the person who was muttering was Gil. So after you blocked his attack, he did the main thing that he was planning on doing, which was unleashing that. Jessica, you're not sure where. Give me a wits plus awareness roll.
Sure.
Do that real
Love-
quick for me before you decide your intention.
Yeah, I'll roll those 3 first. And then awareness. Where are you? What if I could read? Okay, only 2. That is 2 successes total.
You do not know where Jessica is. You can't see her.
Well, in that case, I think Somber's intention is to let their hand distend into those long, sharp talons, and almost like they pick up some of the shadow out of that portal because they also know some oblivion, but they use it like in this protean discipline way where the shadow like forms these long feral weapons on their hand, and they just absolutely backhand Gil.
Love it. All right, strength plus brawl. So let's go through how that was all resolved. Gideon, what did you get on yours?
2 successes.
2 successes. All right, you are able to successfully improvise a weapon as you smash one of the table legs into a serviceable stake. However, I would like you to roll composure plus wits.
Okay, that is actually a better roll. Let's see. All right, that is. I'm going to use a willpower. 4 successes.
4 successes. All right. As you're raising up your weapon, trying to decide on a target, you hear a familiar scream. You're able to pick it out from all of the chaos that is currently boiling around you as these people rush in under Luther's influence. And as you turn around, you see a door leading presumably to the lower decks of this partially sunken ship fly open. And you see somebody race out of it. Her face is bloody and looking extremely desperate. It is the face of Miranda Greer, your mother. And as she looks at you, she says, "Gideon, is that really you? What's going on? Where are we? We have to get out of here." And as she does that, Luther, what did you get on your intent?
Two successes.
All right, you do manage to make your way over to your daughter. However, you don't do so in a very stealthy way, and you definitely get hit by a few people on the way, so you're going to take 2 points of superficial damage, which you will have down to 1 point of superficial damage because you are a kindred. All right, M, what's going on with you?
All right. I have 2 successes and another crit.
Okay, so 4 successes in total. All right. Also a crit, but the Tigers good. So you do exactly as you intended. You manage to smash Key's mouth with your fist. He staggers backward. Clearly, his jaw has been broken, and he lets out a bloodthirsty howl. You don't know how many more of those you're going to get away with before he starts tearing you to pieces. But so far, you're doing a lot better in this fight than you did in the last one.
Can I add a pew pew to that one too?
Absolutely. With that, you take out one of his eyes, and Key looks like he is in a seriously dangerous position at this point. Somber, what did you roll on your attack on Gil?
4 successes.
4 successes. All right. All right. You manage to slash him across the face, your feral weapons dealing extra damage. He staggers backward, badly hurt. Brings us back up to the top. Gideon, I'm fascinated to know what your intention is now.
So typically, Gideon is a kindred of decorum and stature and just level-headedness. But at the appearance of his mother, that's gone. The composure gone. Everything. He is pushing through the chaos to get to his mom.
All right. What is your intention once you get to her, if you successfully get to her? Are you just hunkering down? Are you going to run off? Get her out of there?
If successful, they're going to try their best to get her out of there.
Okay. Give me a dexterity plus brawl check to just kind of force your way through and slip through areas where where it's going to be tough. Luther, what is your intent?
So I have reached Eden, correct?
Yes, she's not reacting to your presence at all. She's just clinging onto the table, seemingly for dear life.
I would like to put my hand on her face and try to lock eyes, try to draw her out, and not using supernatural means, coax her into the real world.
Okay. Charisma plus persuasion on that one. M, are you taking another swing at the werewolf?
Yes, there's so much blood here. I would
All
like
right.
to take my claws and brutal feet on this werewolf.
You're going to feed on the werewolf. Okay. So, strength plus brawl for that. And Somber, what's your intention?
Oh my god. Somber is going to try to take Gil's face in their hands, right? And just hold it, crush it so it hurts a little bit, right? But they are gonna try to say a few words to him.
Okay.
Maybe.
And your intention is to persuade him to do something, I assume.
Maybe intimidate him to do something?
Intimidation plus manipulation, I think, will be excellent for this. So, Em, I'm going to do yours first because you're fighting a werewolf. How many successes did you get? You're muted.
I have... Damn it. Oh, there. I have 4, but I'm going to use willpower. Let's see. 5.
5. All right. Unfortunately, it's not enough. He manages to get through your guard, and he's going to deal 4 points of non-halved superficial damage with his claws.
Okay.
tearing through, and you hear him growl under his breath, "I'm going to take more than an arm this time." Gideon, what did you get?
2 successes.
2 successes. That's enough. You managed to force your way through, grab your mother, and charge out through one of the open doors. Give me a wits plus awareness check.
All right. Okay. Let's go, Shibby. Yikes. Okay, another reroll. Power. Okay, we got a crit in this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 successes.
6 successes. All right. You notice just in time that the cadence of your mother's screams have changed into something that sounds more like a feral snarl as you feel fangs on the side of your neck and realize that the person you're actually carrying out into the swamp is Jessica. However, as she lunges to try and train you, you are able to dodge out of the way, throw yourself away from her, and the two of you are now separated in the middle of the swamp, snarling at each other. She says, "You are more perceptive than I would have expected for one of your generation. You really would be a fool not to put that to good use by joining us."
Really? After that fucking insult?
She lets out another snarl. Luther, what did you get on your, all right, on your attempt?
Only 3 little ones.
Only 3 little ones. You hear something kind of hiccup in the back of her mouth, and she turns her eyes towards you and she says, "Dad?"
Yeah, it's me. It's me. I'm here. Just focus on my eyes. Everything's gonna be okay.
You fucking asshole! And she is going to wallop you in the face with her fist. Now, of course, you're kindred, so it doesn't really hurt that badly. But this seems to be what she needed to ground herself a little bit. She still doesn't seem to be quite aware of what's going on, but her determination to beat you within an inch of her life seems to be overriding the drugs.
Probably deserved.
And because she is now leaving with you, you have successfully gotten her to follow a command. And the beast, for now, is calmed. So, back up to the top. We're going to do one more round of this, and then things are going to get resolved in one way or another. What is your
resolved
intent?
last time?
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. What are you saying to Gil? And what did you roll?
I rolled 5 successes. Rolled 5 dice. Rolled 5 successes. Somber kind of backhands him with this shadow claw, grabs his face. Here's the thing, love. I don't need you for power. You need us. So call off your fucking dog before I make you regret ever having been embraced.
And one less success than you did. He says, "Key! Heal!" And Key pulls back from attacking you, M. And he says, "Vergoni! Call them off now!"
He takes his time about it, but then he activates awe again and just tells everybody that they did a wonderful job and that it was time to go home before the police arrive.
Persuasion plus manipulation, please, to see if you can stem this flood that you've set off.
Ooh. 2.
2. All right.
Oh wait, can I add 1 dice just see if I can bump it by 1 because I activated all?
Yeah, oh yes, you would have that.
That adds 1. That's 3.
Okay, that's what I needed.
Ha!
You are able to. Everyone acts as if they are in a trance as they start making their way, stumbling away from this place. Meanwhile, Gideon and Jessica are still duking it out outside. Gideon, what's your intention here?
I would like to use my improvised stake right in the chest.
All right, gonna be a difficult shot. Melee plus strength.
I would like to do this. I know it's only going to be 1 die since I have 0 blood potency. I'm going to blood buff.
All right, rouse that blood. Give me
Just
that
1.
hunger check.
I get a little hungrier.
Okay.
And you said
Strength plus melee.
okay, strength plus melee. Oh boy. It'd be like so funny if I crit on these 2 dice. Like, God, please. 0 successes.
No! I got
You don't
so
have
hyped
the-
for a minute. I got
Oh,
so
no.
hyped.
And you don't have the option of re-rolling, correct? Because of your hunger?
Nope, because they're all blood die. I am not a physical.
All right, well, unlike you, Jessica got 7 successes with a crit. So, she races up, and as you try to stab that into her chest, she grabs it, reverses it, and shoves it into your heart instead. And you feel the absolute paralysis of being staked lock you in place. And as she leans down and she says, "You're going to make an excellent bargaining chip," picks you up and carries you off into the swamp. And I believe that is where we will be ending for tonight, everyone. With our second to last episode. So join us next week for the conclusion of Bleeding Kansas Season 1. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you very much to my fantastic players that I look forward to tearing limb from limb next session. Thank you very much to our fantastic sponsors who have made all of this possible. And thank you very much to our fantastic Gehenna Gaming community and Discord. If you want to join that community and learn more about what we do, hop over to the Gehenna Gaming Discord. You might even have a chance to shout about what you want to see happen to these kindred before their demise is finalized. So, take care. See you next week.